which will be shirts, and it'll be the polo shirts plus the t-shirts divided by these two, divided by the total retail value for all products. So in order to find that out, you would have to know these two, the quantity of the two types of shirts combined divided by total retail value. We'll go here and do this. Well, here. Now we could just find it out and put it here, but to emphasize my point, we're going to do everything up here. The equal sign first, and then of course you have to add these two together. So inside the parentheses, you want to find out the sum of these two. So B3 plus B4 up here, and then divide it by this number. So you hit the slash, which is the division key, and then hit that. What these parentheses say are that whatever's inside the parentheses is going to be found out first, or calculated first. So we'll find out 25 plus 75 equals 100 before we divide it by, sorry about that, before we divide it by anything else. So then we hit enter. Still in the wrong format. Alright, so it's pretty easy stuff. You just have to remember your order of operations. I'm gonna go ahead and autofill these just because I'm a perfectionist. And I was hoping that would show just so I could tell you, when you're doing functions like this, you have to make sure that your number that you're dividing it by, this number, is an absolute value. So when I plugged it in here, I have to make it an absolute value. And you do that, it's a special code. You just put a number sign here, and then go here and put a number sign there. Makes it an absolute value. So then when I come over here and I go to autofill it again, now they're all numbers. And since they're percentages, we can come up here and make them percentages. Somehow those numbers don't look right, but for the sake of time, we're gonna leave them alone. Well, let's see. It's my perfectionism coming out, but that's basically how you create simple and complex formulas. If you take a look at the toolbar up here, though, you also notice that you have this X in the corner, and I don't know if you've been wondering what is it for, but I'm going to tell you. If you do a function and then you decide, like you all see I have all these things highlighted, and plus and division and all these things. If I decide that, whoa, what am I doing? That's wrong. I can go over here, and instead of having to delete anything, I can just hit X. And it cancels out everything that I put in there that I didn't want, that was wrong. And that is just more convenient, and it's better for people who, like me, are prone to error. Sorry about that. The final thing that I would like to show you in Excel would be the language that the computer speaks, which for most computers I believe it's macros, but for a Mac it's called AppleScript. And what AppleScript is, it's like the equivalent to macros. It's the language that the computer speaks, and you can basically format whatever it is that you're trying to do, and it automatically sets it up. You tell the computer what you want it to do, and it reads what you're saying, and then it follows the instructions. So go to AppleScript, and I have a pre-done or preset set of instructions that I created earlier. I'm gonna just paste those on here, and after you put your instructions in, you would go to compile. which lets you know if your script is correct or not. As you can see, it says tell application. I just want to try and explain it a little bit because I'm going to do something very simple with this script. But when you say tell, every application on the computer is like an object. So when I say tell application Microsoft Excel, this Microsoft Excel is the object. So we're telling it to open, and by open we say activate. What I'm going to do with this script is change the sheet tabs at the bottom to different names using AppleScript. So in order to tell it that, I have to say try and then tell it what to do. Now we already have the right names up here, so we're actually going to change them. And I'm going to tell it to change them to Pink Daisies and Green Tulips. So you hit compile, which is like a checker, almost like a spell check, but it lets you know if your code is correct. Because if you type in anything awkward or wrong, it'll definitely let you know. For example, now see, it says that it lets you know something is wrong. It says, you know, what we were expecting, but this is what we found. We found a number. So it highlights that, that's wrong. Say compile. Now this highlight turned that color because it's thinking I'm going to tell it something, but I'm not. It just basically compile is like checking to make sure your code is correct. So after you hit compile and you see everything's good and changes the right colors, you would either go up here, file, and save it as an application. And I'll just say Excel Tutor. I can save it as an application, or I could run it now, but to show you what exactly it does, I'm going to close that out. And I'm going to go here to my applications. And you see it's right here, so double click. There it is again. We run it. If you take a look at the bottom now, they once said golf and football. Now they say green tulips and pink daisies. So basically it's like a formatting thing. I don't expect you to understand AppleScript entirely based off this tutorial because it is an immense amount of data to learn. You have to learn the language and how to translate it to the computer, and it's not really hard, but it's very precise. So this one tutorial will not help you to be a pro in it. It's just that was a very basic script just to show you what it is, what it does, and some things you can do with it. Overall, I hope that this tutorial helped you out with getting a little bit familiar with Microsoft Excel. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. One thing I will show you that is cool with AppleScript before I go, that I can tell my computer to talk. So
thank you for watching the Excel group.
you all have a nice evening.